Hello everyone and welcome to the 8th round of the ExA Season 8 Division 2 Championship, where we are at the Silverstone circuit for the British Grand Prix this evening. With the 3.6 mile circuit contains 18 turns, 8 to the left and 10 to the right, with 2 DRS zones completing this illustrious circuit, but neither of them on the main straight. It held the first F1 race back in 1950, and since then it has had a number of excellent races, as well as very well remembered victories, such as even last season, the one that was cherished by many people across not just the UK but across the entire world, was Lewis Hamilton's victory in his first victory in 3.5 years, after not winning between Saudi Arabia 2021 and Silverstone 2024. He finally took that victory. He also had another victory which was well remembered. We have Carlos Sainz back in 2022. He took it as his very first victory after an excellent race from the Spaniard, and just a little bit of spice of a late race safety car. However, it is not. It's also, we have Lewis Hamilton's very first victory in 2008, which is won by over a minute. We will see whether the gap will be over a minute tonight or whether it will be under a second. More likely to be the latter. Rolling back the so I'm your commentator James Jackson, and we are ready for an exciting evening ahead of us. But first, let's go through everything you need to know before we get into the rest of qualifying. Last week we had Anton lead and take victory once more in the season, ahead of Iki Robo and Zoran in the running up the podium. Vigo in fourth with Dan in fifth. Ryan Red all the way down in P7. The championship, one of our championship contenders, not having the best of races. That leaves us with the driver standings looking like this. Anton leads the way by 9 points over Vigo. Runner Red now 9 points further back than the runner man, and being in third place on 90 points. 1 point behind him is Iki Robo, and then Zoran and Iona in fifth and sixth, Nello in seventh, and Flores in P8. Full Diver and Tobias round out the top 10. Constructors, this leaves us with a very, very close constructors fight, as it has been for the most part of the season. McLaren lead the way ahead of the Alpine team with 156 to 141 points. 1 point behind them is the Ferrari and the Scuderias on 140. The Red Bull team on 134, with Haas running at top 5. Aston Martin still within touching distance, only 46 points behind the championship leading McLaren in P6. The rest quite far behind that, but our top 6 in constructors cover by 46 points. That's just over a 1-2's finish difference between the top 6. With this late into a season, it can still go anyone's way, and we are now into qualifying for the British Grand Prix for Division 2. We got Anton currently out on track. He's going round on his lap. Can we see whether he can put it on pole this evening? Continue where he left off last time out in Monza. He's going down the DRS straight, and I've pressed the wrong button. Hold on a second. There you go. So now we have Anton go up to line. We've had Blazer go fastest, then Sonic beat him, pip him by 4 tenths of a second. Where does his teammate Anton put himself as we go up to the line? It will be a 125.8 by 4 tenths a second. He beats his teammate before Ionut jumps to McLaren as well with a 25.9. V10 Leo in the Ferrari puts himself into the provisional pole position by 200ths of a second over Anton. Very, very close margins. Leo took pole by quite a margin in Monza, which is quite a shocking surprise, quite a shock. But Anton, who was fairly far down the order by race ends, at one point in the race, comes back and comes back and to take the victory. Top three separated by just over a tenth and a half, and the rest of the field still yet to come out. We've currently got Haas still currently on a lap going through Luffield. I'm going to try and get all the other data up quickly. Let's get up to that. So we've got Haas still currently the Williams going down towards Cops. Where does the Williams want to put themselves this evening? Not kind of one of those drivers who are kind of in the middle of the pack more or less most of the races. However, does decently in qualifying and race. They don't really have put foot wrong. You don't really hear much from this Williams. However, currently on the medium compound tyres, looking to get a bit of practice in. Does the Williams use this as an opportunity to set themselves up for a good with this banker for a solid soft run later in the session? I'm going to go down to the final couple corners now through Club and into Vale. We will go bit of oversteer, a lot of oversteer. The back end goes wide there, but the Williams keeps it in line 27.3. Not going to be good enough to get them anywhere into the top 10. However, on those mediums, it is not always certain. We currently have Vigo, who's just finished their lap, going up to P7. We've also got a couple drivers yet to set lap times. Dan, Paul Diver are currently the only two drivers who haven't set a time, and they're currently on laps. Will go on with the Red Bull of Paul Diver as we go into down onto the old pit straight now through Woodcote. Old F1, that was actually a proper corner, flat out, probably for the last 30 or 40 years, but still as illustrious as the rest of the corners, such as Magnus and Beckett's as we fly through the one of the most famous S sections on the calendar, or not even just on the calendar, in the world of racing. We go down towards now through sector 3. Sector 2 apparently is fastest. We'll see whether that puts the Red Bull into that top contention. Through Stowe, quite decent through there. Doesn't look like much has gone wrong this lap, except that lock up that sent them a little bit wide as we go into Club. Now round Vale for the final corner and to end the lap. A 26.8 puts them a second off V10 Leo. And we have Dan, who is next up to the line, coming through the final chicane and around the final corner now. Where does the Aston put themselves? P7 even for the for Dan as they go 26.3, 200s behind Nelu Safu and a half a tenth ahead of Vigo in the Alpine. We've got a couple more drivers yet to set a lap time. We've currently got the Aston Martin teammate of Dan. They're currently championship contender, runner red for P3 in the standings, looking to make inroads tonight. We've got them going down to the Wellington Straight down the Hanger Straight, towards Wellington. This is Wellington, down Wellington Straight towards Luffield and into Brookland. As the Aston Martin looks to try and get themselves up the order. It was fairly quiet in the last week's qualifying session. Didn't really have much again to get towards V10 Leo's Ferrari, who again looks to try and top the qualifying session again tonight. As we go down towards Magnus and Beckett's as we enter the second phase of the session, we now see whether this Aston Martin can get a time in, and they cannot because they got invalidated on the exit of the S's, and that is not what you're going to be doing if you are one of the championship contenders, because if you do not have a time bankering, that is going to cause you to be a bit more apprehensive when you go onto your final run, especially if you've made an invalidation or error. And so now we go down to Swanton Bomb. That is certainly a reference to Jeff Hardy in WWE. So let's see whether the Sauber can use this. They're going to go very close and go into the back of the McLaren, who tries to duck out their way last second. The McLaren Sauber tries to get a slipstream, tries to get a toe off the McLaren, and then Sonic tries to move out of the way, gets a 5-place grid penalty for trying to move at the same time. If you're in that situation and you've got a car flying towards you and you've got cars either side on the other side of the circuit, they're flying towards you, might as well just stay there, because at that point you're kind of moving at a very, very late moment, and that has pretty much finished the Sauber in their first attempt now as we go towards the last part of the session. Only 2 drivers yet to set a lap time. Runner red to Swanton Bomb. We've seen both, one invalidate and one get involved in a collision. We are now going to head towards our current championship contenders. We've got pole position contenders. Runner red, not runner red, V10 Leo trying to help his teammate of Nelu Safu coming on towards the line, and can Nelu Safu get up towards the front? This is what you want to need if you're Leo. You want that help. Anton fastest 25.7. That is crucial. A half a tenth clear of Leo, who isn't on a lap at this point. Currently nearly 4 tenths up though is Nelu Safu, who's got that DRS, who's got the help from his teammate. Now it's down to him through the last part of the lap, through Stowe towards the final chicane. Where does the Ferrari go, or is it too little, too late through the chicane? Now through the final corner, flat run, use up that last bit of ERS to the line, 25.7, excellent lap there from Nelu Safu, and gets themselves fastest by 700ths of a second. Excellent teamwork there from the Scuderia, and they managed to do something that the Ferrari team in real life could not manage anyway. So we now head, we've got a yellow flag basically constantly in this session, so you never know how much time you've got left. You've got 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go, and we'll see whether that is enough. We've got Icky Robo currently on a lap as the Red Bull, I believe. Is he on a lap? No, he's not on a lap, never mind. He is saving his ERS, potentially looking either to go again, or has they got enough fuel, or if they're going to maybe pit and go for a new set of tyres. We're going to see whether that makes any sort of difference. We've got a couple other drivers yet to set lap times. We've got Swanton Bomb, who will now be looking to make a second attempt at a lap time coming through the final chicane. Can the Sauber get themselves up the order in a second attempt? Now they've got a bit more clean air in front of them. They certainly, unless there's a significantly slow RB or Williams that on the later part of the lap, they certainly won't have the same issue as the first time round into the arena section of Village, the Loop, and then towards Aintree. Can the Mystery Machine get themselves into top end contention, or at least into the top 10 at this point? 27.6 in the first sector. Is that enough? We're going to see as we continue through Luffield now, as I've said it the wrong way around before, but through Brookings and through Luffields into Woodcote. Flat out run down towards the old pit straight now, and passing what is basically a GT pit lane now, as we go through Cops and down towards Maggots and Beckett's. Will the Sauber manage to keep their foot as flat to the floor and keep the car as gripped as physically possible, and a little bit of understeer on the exit there as we now go down towards Stowe Corner? And now that before we end the lap, currently the Sauber just needs to get some sort of lap in, but at this point late in the session, we need to get something in. Because something is better than nothing, especially if you're in 19th place, up towards the line of 26.8, puts himself just ahead of their teammate P15. But that's not what you want to be seeing if you are that Sauber. We've got a couple more drivers on laps as we go. Oh, that's not who I wanted to see. That's who I wanted to see. Paul Diver currently on an out lap. Wonder who, if the Mercedes behind them is on a lap of some description. I believe Ironut currently on a lap. They certainly are. If you look at that on board, we're going to go through Maggots and Beckett's there for the probably penultimate, maybe final time for the Mercedes, and they invalidate, and that is not what you want to be seeing, especially if you're 2 tenths up on your time. That would have put you at least P2, potentially P1, if you find a couple hundredths in that final part of the lap. We'll see whether that has any bearing at the end of the session, as Iron just flies into the pits. Frustration already creeping in. We go back to... Oh, that's the wrong one. We go to Elmo of the Void. Going through the chicane now. Through Vale into Club, as we now... sorry, that's another thing. I got the wrong way around. Vale into Club, a tenth and a bit up. Nearly 2 tenths up. Puts himself P12 ahead of Icky Robo. But is still remaining outside the top 10. As we've now watched, as we probably see the Ferrari drivers do what they done in the earlier phases. We'll see the Nelu Safu help their teammate of V10 Leo going through the lap. So we'll see what he can do. The Ferrari going round the final Ferrari's now going round the final chicane and towards the line. Will this be the benefit that Leo is looking for? It helped him. It helped him, Nelu, on that first lap to get him to provisional pole. They're looking to make that a front row lockout by Eve qualifying's end in 2.5 minutes time. Through down towards farm, towards village now in the braking zone. Lock up there for Nelu Safu, who's got to maintain a solid pace as well throughout these corners, because this is going to otherwise affect Leo more and more as the DRS towards the line. I don't think Nelu Safu is quite far ahead, but they need to try and work together. A 10th up there for Leo, who needs an extra bit of time, but this is crucial corners for the Ferrari, who's now almost getting held up by Nelu. Nelu might have to get out of the way very shortly. This is the opportunity for the Ferrari if they can continue to help each other. However, being stuck behind your teammate for this long might become an effect. Are we now going to Magnus Beckett's? That is all that Nelu can do for Leo. Is that enough? They're looking for a front row lockout. Potential P1 for Leo. They are fighting amongst themselves, but they're working together. 3 tenths up for Leo. That is what he needs right now. He just needs to nail this final part of the lap into Stowe. Gets on that curb. Keeps it in nicely. Used up all that battery now as he goes towards the final chicane into the final part of the lap. Can the Ferrari manage it? Using up that last bit of ERS towards the line. It's pole for Leo provisionally. 25.5. Can anyone top it? And I mean anyone, because at the moment, that time with the slipstream from Nelu looks solid, and that could be the lap that's needed. Potentially a Ferrari masterclass this weekend. We've currently got Dan currently on a lap. We currently have a lot of drivers on out laps. Ina starting a lap, followed by the Red Bull Vicky Robo, and then the McLaren behind them of Anton. So we'll see how those three get on, as all of them could try and contend for pole. We're now through the final part of sector 2 and into sector 3. 200 up for Dan. That's not going to be good enough for pole, but that might, if they can get a bit more time in sector 3, be good enough for a couple more positions. It is quite close between 6th to 6th to 8th, so it could be a little bit extra time. A 10th would help them to P6, P7, 800s gain, P8 for Dan as one of the Aston Martins of Runner Red. 25.9 there for Runner Red. We are now going to go to Anton, who's currently on a lap. They're down. Anton's down, and Anton will not be able to take pole from them. It's going to be down to the rest of the field to try and manage it. Currently, Ferrari 1-2. Can Iron Up take it away from him? 3, nearly 4 tenths up. It's his opportunity arisen for the Mercedes, who looks to try and take away what looks like a Ferrari masterclass, looks like Ferrari glory. At the moment, into the final chicane, the Mercedes, the Silver Arrow, can they spoil the Scuderia's party? Yes, they can. 25.5, 300s quicker than Leo. Is that good enough for pole? Icky Robo, T10. Can anyone top that? Can Paul Diver get ahead? Paul Diver up the P7. That's some excellent stuff there. From then, we've got Blazer currently on a lap to the line. P7 for the Williams. We're going to see the Haas of Marty up to the line. Goes a quarter of a second quicker. Then P7, and then Sonic P7. That's some good laps there being put in. Dead Royale to the line. Does not improve. P18, maybe P19 if Haas still can improve. We've got Swanton currently on a lap. Do they make improvements necessary? They do, but not enough to go up another position. are still to the line. Where does the Williams put themselves? They put themselves P17, dropping Swanton and De Royale down to P18 and P19, with Runner Ed, who's also completed the lap. That will be the grid. Ironut takes pole position, spoils the Scuderia front row lockout in the dying depths of the session. So it'll be Ironut leading Leo, leading Lelo Safu, leading Strikey, Anton in P5, who did not complete a final run at all, and that is that McLaren who's down there with Runner in P6, Sonic P7, Marty P8, Blazer P9, Paul Diver round out top 10. It's all to play for. We've got a 26 lap race to come. Who will take victory? Will it be Ironut, who maintains their from lights to flag? Will Leo top that 300s, covering that top 2, that the whole grid really covered by the whole top 14 covered by second, 1.3 covering the whole grid. That is very, very close. That is fine margins. We're talking thousandths is the gap, but it's actually a Chad or Romanian, I'm not sure, front of top 3 lockout. That is excellent stuff from them three drivers, but it'll be up to them whether they can maintain that or whether it'll be two. Anton, Runner Ed, or any other driver in this field tonight. We've now got a brief moment of waiting before we can get underway once more for the 26 lap race. Let's run us through quickly once more the drivers' standings. Anton leads the way ahead of Vigo, and then Runner Ed in third. Icky Robo still within a shout. Same with Zoran and Ironut. Well, Zoran, but Ironut quite far out unless they have a significant points gain over the drivers in front tonight. It is going to be very difficult to claw back a 43-point gap in this stage of the season. We'll see whether they can manage that. Constructors-wise, McLaren will lead the way, but will they lead to the end of tonight? Ferrari have something to say about that, considering their statement with both of them in the top 3 in qualifying. Can they take the constructors' lead? 16 points between them and McLaren. We'll see whether they can manage it tonight. Alpine are also involved in there, so it is very close at that top for the constructors. But we have a race to get to, and we have opportunity for these drivers to get underway. We're going to go to 5 red lights for the British Grand Prix, and it's lights out, and away we go for the Division 2 Silverstone Grand Prix into turn 1. Swanton is apparently P1 according to this. It is a very broken thing at the moment. I'm not exactly sure what's happened here with the system, as everyone is kind of in a bit of the wrong order. However, Leo will lead the way ahead of Ironut, ahead of Strikey, as we go down towards down towards the end of sector 1, down towards Brooklands and into Luffield. Leo leads the way as time tower fixes itself now. Ironut, Ironut, Strikey made his way into P3 ahead of Nelu Safu. There's a bit of a wide moment there for Runner Red as they go and try and get by Anton down in P6. They did not make any sort of gains. It's only a one-stop strategy here tonight, so we will see who has the almost almighty of pace. We're going to see side-by-side moment between Runner and Marty through Maggots and Beckett's. Can Marty make their way around the outside on the exit? No, they cannot, and that has left them vulnerable to Paul Diver, who's going to try and make a move. It is cars here, there and everywhere. They're trying to make moves on each other, but it is to no avail. We're going to see everyone fall back in line as we go towards the chicane. Side-by-side action between the Williams, between Dan and Blazer. Can the Aston Martin and the Williams keep it clean? The Aston Martin of Dan moves away past Blazer for P9. Swanton, who's had an excellent start, is up to P11. Can they make a move stick? No, they can't. Meanwhile, Paul Diver and Marty side by side can initially, but Paul Diver makes their way up the P7 ahead of Marty, who looks to be struggling here. One position lost, two positions lost potentially, as Dan tries to make a move on the outside of Marty through the arena section and down towards Aintree, and that's a McLaren push wide. That's Sonic, who's in P13 right now, managed to get back on track safely, but we're continuing on. We've got side-by-side action between John and Icky Robo, who the Red Bull and the V-Carb side-by-side. John gets by, but Icky Robo trying to make a move of some trying to make a defense of some description on Sonic, who's side by side towards towards Woodcote and into Cops. It's going to be opportunity for the Red Bull to defend. No, there isn't. Sonic moves their way up to P12, and that was very unlucky there for Icky Robo. Moving our attention now back to the race lead. Leo leads the way by 7/10 of a second over Ironut. Strikey in P3, Nello P4, Anton running out that top 5. But we're going to see Dan and Paul Diver side by side. Dan makes their way past the Red Bull, who looks to not be as quick as Dan. Looks to have some excellent race pace and is coming through the field. We're going to quickly look at the positions gained. Dan, 3 positions gained, but Swanton with 9. That is very good start for the Sauber, who was right down the order at the start of this race. He got a lot of differences though. He got a lot of softs, he got a lot of mediums, so could tyre difference play some sort of factor. We are now on to lap 3, and V10 Leo is now trying to pull away at a rate of knots. We're going to see battles continue throughout the field. Can anyone do anything about one another in this top 6 train? Not at the moment. Everyone just remaining lying astern. We see Dylan there get ahead of Elmo for P15. Elmo, not a do. Actually, Elmo spins the Red Bull of Icky Robo. Has to get on the brakes. Very lucky there was ghosting there, and the Red Bull very lucky to get away without any sort of damage. But there's been trains that have started to form. V10 Leo got a 3/10 gap now over Ironut. Can he defend? We now go on towards Stowe corner now. 3-second time penalty for Paul Diver. Both Red Bulls with time penalties in the early phases of this race. That is not a good sign for the Red Bull team, as they look to be struggling. Paul Diver up to P7, and here up the inside goes Marty on Dan. Tries to make a move while trying to defend from Swanton. Could not do anything about that. Dan keeps P8, Marty in P9, Swanton trying to defend for P10, but John is all over the back of him as we go down towards the arena section now into Village. Can the Sauber try and find their way by? No, they cannot, as there's a bit of side-by-side action there between the Williams and the Alpine. Blazer trying to defend from Vigo. Vigo trying to make something of the driver in front of them. We've still got everything remaining at the battle for the lead, though. The top 6 remaining in the same positions, as we see Leo trying to scamper away from the rest of the top 6. Ironut Strikey trying to hold on to them with Nello, Anton and Runnerhead in tow. It's a bit more chaotic at the battle throughout the rest of the field, though. Vigo makes his way by Blazer before Cop's corner. That was very brave, but very opportunistic nonetheless. We now see Dan trying to make a move on Paul Diver as we go through Magnus and Beckett, trying to make some sort of move stick. Here comes the DRS off the back of Paul Dan, and Dan makes the way into P7, potentially followed by Marty into P8, because he tries to make a move up the inside of the Red Bull, but can't make anything stick as we go into the chicane around the outside. As it stands, maybe the Red Bull looking for a cutback denied because Marty has managed to get the traction. Here we go down towards turn 1. Is there any opportunity to force Marty into some sort of error to make some sort of move into Village? No, not at this point. Through farm into Village, nothing at the moment. We see it up the inside from Sonic, who is that's the wrong bump. We're going to see Sonic trying to make a move on Swanton around here. It was the inside, and it's now the outside, and Sonic makes his way by for P11. Swanton down to P12, but it's all sorts of chaos as we go down towards Brooklands and into Luffield, and Vigo makes his way up to P12. There's more fighting between Dan, Marty, and Paul Diver. Marty trying to make something of him, but there's nothing he can do towards Cops. However, up the inside goes Paul Diver. Looked very close, but he backs out of that one temporarily. We're going to have to go back to this race lead battle because it's all of a sudden closed up quite significantly. We are now going down towards Stowe Corner. Is there any opportunity there for the Iron to get by? Yes, he does. Iron up to P1. Leo down to P2. Could the Mercedes make the defence now make a defence and pull away? The soft tyres on the Ferrari potentially looking to fade. Fastest lap of the race for Ironup, who now leads as the Mercedes, who was on pole, looks to try and make something of his potential pull away for the race lead. Sorry, still on one light. So there we go. We've now got down towards down the hang straight towards Brooklands. Can Ironup make any sort of defence for against Leo? And it looks like the Mercedes is going to have a bit of an easier time than Leo against Strikey. Strikey trying to make something. Runner Red is trying to make a move on his championship rival, trying to get ahead of championship leader Anton. They're side by side through Woodcote and towards Cops Corner. Down the old pit straight now. Can Aston Martin get by? Yes, they do. As Runner Red makes their way into P5. That is what you need to be doing if you're the Aston Martin, get by the championship leader, and now has got 4 more cars to get by to get into that championship lead. We now, not championship lead, that race lead. So we see the Mercedes looks to try and pull away, but hasn't got quite the DRS, got quite the pull, because the V10 Leo got that DRS, got that slipstream, and that was certainly helping them along. And now we're going to see this 6-car train continue to fight. We've got 5 different teams in this top 6. The Ferraris looking quite well rounded at this stage. As we now go down towards the first complex, down through farm into village. Can the Mercedes do enough to pull away? It is just very, very difficult to pull any sort of gap at this stage, and at the moment it looks like that Mercedes is trying to find a gap as we go towards Luffield through Brooklands into Luffield, as you've got side by side action between the top 2 is 2x2 from 3 to 6. We now going to see Strikey try and make a defence on Runner Red, does so, and Lelu is trying to make a defence on Runner Red again as Runner Red is trying to make a move. Sat around the outside goes the Aston Martin. Excellent stuff. The Anton up to P5, making an opportunity off Nelu, dropping positions, and now that has dropped the Ferrari down to P6. The back of the train, that is not what you want to be doing if you're the Scuderia. And now we're going to see Runner Red try and make a move on the Alpine, potentially the tyres of the soft runners going away now as the medium runners begin to pull themselves back into contention. Iron Runner, Anton, the 3 medium runners, Nelu, Strikey, Leo, the soft runners. We now go through the final chicane and towards Vale. Can Leo try and continue to hold P2? Because at the moment it looks like just little bit by little bit that Iron is pulling away. We now go down towards the arena section. Can Ironup make a defence? Dead Royale has pulled into the pits, and while his teammate is leading the way, he is our first retirement of the session. We now see the Ferrari try and make some sort of defence on the Ferrari try and make some sort of defence on the Aston Martin, but at the moment it looks like he's only holding on by a thread because of Ironut's DRS. We now go through the old pit straight for the 8th time this session and through Cops Corner, and can the Ferrari pull themselves back into contention? Because at the moment it looks like he's fading fast, because that Aston Martin is hounding him down and hunting him down, and is going to be like his pray, because he's about to go and make a move to the inside, to the outside. He looks, but there's nothing the Aston Martin can do. Leo has done the defence and it's made sure he can hold on for a little bit more. He's closed right up though to the Mercedes of Iron Up, but his tyres must be screaming right now as we go through towards the final corner and onto lap 9. This is opportunity for Leo to for Iron Up to try and pull away without that DRS. He's just using the Ferrari on that soft compound to help himself get towards P1. Another second retirement of the race. Swanton is out as I believe Hostile and no, not Hostile. John has come into the pits as well. One of there's some sort of collision between the two of them. But the Sauber becomes our second retirement. No safety car at this stage. However, we will continue on nicely. We're going to see the Ferrari just lose bits of ground on throughout the corner and then on exit due to the tyre deficit they are beginning to have. The Aston Martin was real close to that Scuderia. We now go down towards Magnus and Beckett. We've got Ironut, Leo, Runner Red, Anton, Strikey, Nelu. That is our top 6 as we head through Magnus and Beckett and towards the DRS straight now. Can we see Leo try and make a way by this time? We're going to see Anton trying to make his way by Runner Red for P3, but Anton backs out of that one. His top 6 remains line astern as we go into the chicane for the 9th time. This race becomes closer and closer. It is whoever makes that error first, but it's very difficult if the driver in front has quite a high threshold for not making errors. We're going to see whether the Ferrari can try and defend. They certainly do so, but there's a bit of a lock up there as we go into the arena section. The Ferrari just making an error or two too many, because this is going to give Runner Red the opportunity. He's going to have DRS. He's going to go down the straight towards Brooklands. Can he make the move? And then he moved. No, he cannot. He is closer though. He is closer than he has ever been. But the soft tyre is still somewhat kicking on that Ferrari because he's just able to do enough. But that Aston is getting closer and closer by the lap as we go towards Copse Corner, as we go down towards Maggotts and Beckett. Is there any sort of move that can be made on Ironut, on for the race lead by Leo? Can Runner Red get his way by? Runner Red drop back here. This is the opportunity for Anton to retake the position that he lost to the Aston Martin a number of laps ago. But can McLaren do anything? No, they cannot. The Aston Martin closed in, tried to make a move. This literally the drivers pushing each other one after another. We've got undercuts happening. The Alpine of Strikey, the Ferrari of Nelu come into the pit lane. It looks like they're trying to make some sort of undercut and try and get ahead of this train. It might be a lap, it might be a couple laps, it might be a number of laps. But this opportunity has certainly taken itself as we now go through towards the arena section into arena itself, and now out and exiting onto Aintree and then onto the Wellington Straight. Can the Ferrari get their way by head of the Mercedes, the Aston Martin, try and do everything they can? Anton has dropped back a little bit as we go into Brooklands, into Luffield, but it closes right back up there as the Aston Martin gets so close to that rear end of the Ferrari. We now go through towards Copse Corner. And again, Iron Up continues to lead like he has done for the last few laps. The pole sitter, who lost the lead to Leo on the soft compound of tyres, is now back in it and is in the driver's seat quite comfortably, because that medium is looking in a miles better shape on all three drivers compared to that Ferrari. However, that Ferrari will be able to come in earlier, get that undercut and maybe get a chance to pull away. But he's also got to think about Nelu and Strikey, who've already come into the pits at this stage and are looking to make an undercut for themselves. All four stay out for another lap on lap 11. We're going to end it to start lap 12. Can any of these drivers get their way by? It's for for the win. Maybe 6 if Strikey and Nelu don't manage to, or if they start to undercut, and if they cannot do be caught later on. We're going to see whether that is if that happens. We've got over half the race still to go as we go through towards Brooklands. Can the Mercedes get any sort of defense? And yes, they're just doing exactly what they want to do, and just keeping everything nice and calm. And this is excellent stuff for the Mercedes. They've got a car who at the moment is on old tyres that are struggling more between them and their main tyre rivals. That is what is helping him with his lead at this stage, pulling out nearly a half a second gap over the Ferrari. He would want to pull out more, but this game just certainly does not allow it. We're now down towards the Hangar Straight for the 12th time, and we're down towards Stowe. Can the Aston Martin make a move on the Ferrari this time? Up the inside goes the Aston Martin. He tries to make the move stick. There's a bit of wheel banging on there, but there's not much they can do. More wheel banging. The Ferrari, if he wanted to pit, was denied. But here we go into club, into Vale, into club now. Around the final corner we go. More banging of the side pods, of the wheels, but they are very close. They're trying to push each other to the absolute limit. Bit of contact there on the rear corner of the Aston Martin to the Ferrari, but the Ferrari can't defend any longer. The Aston Martin of Runner Red is up to the lead. This is opportunity for now of Runner Red to try and get towards that Mercedes race leader, especially why temporarily Anton is sat behind, but not for long. Anton to P3 gets to get a grip into Brooklands, keeps the inside line, turns to a track to himself, and now the McLaren up to the podium places. Leo down to 4th. I wonder if the Ferrari wanted to pit at that stage, but unfortunately having the Aston Martin in next to him and the McLaren behind him forced him to stay out that lap longer. We now go down towards Magnussen Beckett. Can Ironut now has a new challenge. He's got to try defend. He's got to try and defend against a driver on the same tyre as him, same age. Has he prepared them enough to defend? DRS for the Aston Martin, who potentially has to recharge a little bit more. He's got the chance to go after that race win now. But he's got Anton hot on his heels. We go into club, into Vale, and into the club corner. The Ferrari of Leo pits on lap 13. Halfway point will be able to go straight to the end on those mediums. Those softs must have been screaming. We now go through the first complex of corners into Village, and we will see whether that Mercedes will try and defend a bit more harshly against what he had to with Leo, but that Mercedes will certainly be struggling with the ERS by the end of a couple straights time, because that Aston Martin is coming towards them with the DRS as they close in quite significantly. We see Nelu and Striker get ahead of Leo by a fair margin. This will put them on par right now with the Mercedes, with the Aston Martin, with the McLaren in the race lead when they come out of the pit. However, Leo is now 1.6 seconds back on his rivals, who he needs to close in desperately, but has newer tyres than them at this stage, and hoping those two will fight. We now go down towards Magnussen Beckett as they will start to, as Runner is starting to maybe feel the effects of tyre deg, because he is falling back from Ironut, but he won't be falling back for long because he's going to have the DRS, but he might be forced into a move by Anton. No, they both sit behind, but Anton could really force them to continue the fight. A feigned move into the pit for Anton keeps it out on track. The top three continue to run lap after lap as they look to try and get as far into this race on the mediums to potentially take the softs. The quickest tyre to the end with little issue and little defence from rivals. Striking up the P13 ahead of Nelu now in that provisional fight for the top 6. Drivers start to pull themselves into the pits, like Icky, Robo and Dylan, both making their way into the pits. Strikey fastest after the race. First thing we've heard from the Alpine and the Ferrari in a while in terms of fastest laps. So the Alpine of Strikey looks to try and make inroads now on the leaders. We see Anton trying to make a move on runner red, but at this stage there is not much he could have done because runner red has the grip, he has the DRS, he has the ERS to help him. Ironut has got a 4.5 lead. It's not much, but it's something in comparison to what runner red has over Anton, which is about 0.2. We go through Magnus and Beckett's once more, and this time where the Aston Martin has looked so difficult and big struggle for the Aston Martin through there. It is looking like he can get back and help himself with that DRS, but if he didn't have DRS there, Anton would have cleared him well before that braking zone. All three into the pit lane now. No one wanted to lose out on an opportunity there. They're all into the pit lane. Where do they come out in comparison? We see a number of drivers now coming into the pit lane. We're going to go to our battle, which will become the battle for the race lead potentially at the end of this. Around the outside goes Nello on Stowe. Can he make the move stick? No, yes he can. He makes his way by Strikey, and Nello has done what he needed to. However, they got a closing Leo on a newer compound of mediums who is closing in. Oh wow, they have still got Haas still in front. That Williams may become costly for them as we go into turn one. Nello, Strikey lead the way by a fair margin with Leo in tow, with Iron Up 1.8 seconds behind them. Runner red and Anton right behind. So Haas still, is costing these two a hell of a chunk of time as we go in through exit arena and Aintree into Brooklands now. He makes the move stick as both of them break away by Nello and Strikey, get by the Williams, who will now hold up Leo even more than what he held up these two, because they go through here and this could be the opportunity for these two to break away. Never mind, Leo getting the traction. He makes his way by for P3 and back up onto the podium positions, and still drops down to P4, who still needs to pit. We now go through Max and Beckett's. Nello has got the race lead, but can he hold on to it? The three of Iron Runner and Anton will be trying to close in on their softs, but will they have the same issues as what these guys had on their soft stint and their tyres die towards the end of the stint? However, they have the lucky offset of that these drivers have been already on these tyres for a number of laps. Can Strikey make an attack on Nello? He's currently on a Ferrari sandwich. The Scuderias may be looking to try and play the game so that they can try and get a 1-2 here on British soil. We now go into turn 1 and 2 and 3. The Alpine tries to look for a way by, maybe looking for a move on into the arena set into village. No, as the Alpine continues to be a force to be reckoned with for the Ferraris. A day where the Ferrari can take the lead in the championship if they get a 1-2 here tonight, making it difficult for these guys. Up the inside goes Strikey. Very, very late lunge, but makes it stick. He got out of the slipstream late, got him moved, but a cut back there from the Ferrari of Nello. Could they make themselves still a threat? Yes, they do, but they almost got pushed out wide there by Strikey, and Strikey in the Alpine takes the lead away from Nello. However, these two fighting is giving an opportunity for Iron, Runner Red, Anton and Leo to all close up. And now this 6-way fight that we saw from about lap 1 to lap 11 continues on, but with all the roles pretty much reversed. We now see side-by-side action between Nello and Leo and Strikey. Nello and Leo make it a 1-2-4 from the Scuderia. Around the outside goes the Mercedes. 3 wide there. Contact between the Alpine and the Aston Martin. Runner Red down to 6th. That has lost them time as well, and that has allowed Anton up to P5. Strikey remains in P4, but contact unnecessary, and that costs them both. Ferrari take the lead with a 1-2. Ironut looking to hunt them down. We go into arena. We try to make a move. Can Ironut make away? But a bit of contact there between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. And now we go down through towards Wellington Straight as the Mercedes of Iron just looking for a move. Here comes Anton, who looks for a move. Anton up to P4 ahead of Strikey, who had contact the runner Ed. He took one position away, and that looked like just taking cake from a baby as he goes into P4, because that tyre deficit is certainly an appealing factor for the McLaren. We now go into Cops with Ina all over the back of Leo, who tries to defend as much as possible for Nelu in the other Scuderia. As this opportunity arose for the Ferraris to take this 1-2, but can they hold on to it? They're on lap 18 of 26. It is still a long way to go in this race, in league racing terms. Still got about a third of the race. To the outside goes the Ferrari. It's 3 wide. Leo makes his way by Nelu, who Nelu believes might have been best to pull out that one. More contact between the McLaren and the Ferrari, though. Behind, it's still side by side. It's 2 by 2, like Noah's Ark, as we go through the chicane and through the final corner. Iona trying to take the race lead back from Leo. He does so, and Leo has to drop the P2. Ferrari's 1-2 has come undone. It's not even a 2-3 anymore. It's a 2-5 as we see side-by-side action between Anton and Runner Red. Anton makes his way in defence into P3, getting by Nello in the process. Runner Red trying to make a nuisance of himself, but can't do anything about it. At this stage, that McLaren is trying everything to try and get back ahead of these guys and continue to extend their championship lead. Anton looks absolutely on it though, as he slowly made his way through this pack, and he's slowly got now 2 drivers just left in between him and the race lead. Lap 19 of 26, McLaren through Magnussen Beckett. Can he do what's needed? Leo starting to struggle again with those older medium tyres compared to the newer, fresher, softer compound of tyre on that Silver Arrow. Could that be opportunity for the Mercedes to pull away? The McLaren certainly trying to see opportunity in hunting that Scuderia, but can't do anything at this time. Side by side between Runner Red and McLaren of Anton once more into the chicane. Runner Red trying to make a move as he tries to make it around the inside. It'll be the inside line and takes away the podium place from the McLaren. Runner Red up to P3. The Aston Martin has made the opportunity work, who had a bit of contact with Strikey, and that cost him, but he's got back to where he would have wanted to be, but not where he truly wants to be. He truly wants to be in that P1 position that Iron Nut has now, but he's still got to get past Leo in the Ferrari. We go down the Wellington Straight and towards Brooklands for the 20th of the time. We're lap 20 of 26. It could be the opportunity. We are Runner Red is looking for to take points away from the McLaren, who at the moment is right on the tail of him. He wants to maximise, but he cannot let that points deficit hang over him, because he needs to try and take this race win. He cannot afford to make mistakes. We're going to see whether that Aston Martin can do what's needed. Bit of a wobble there from the Ferrari of Leo. Comes back on track, maintains that position. However, he was still ahead. So as we go into the Stowe corner, around the outside goes Runner. Tries to make the move stick, switches to the inside, tries to make the cutback work. He will have the inside. Contact between the two, and that Leo getting very aggressive. This is allowing Anton to try and maybe squeeze, but he can't squeeze. He can't squeeze his way through. He managed to stay there, but not for long, as Runner Red keeps his P3 through towards the arena section. Now into Village we will go, and that Aston Martin is trying everything to attack Leo, but has to deal with Anton, who is all over the back of him. It is this top 6 fighting for this race lead, but Nello and Strikey beginning to fall away. He feints the move. He feints it. Contact between the two. Runner Red takes the inside line. He feints the move to the outside. Forces Leo to try and defend. Cuts him back. Takes a dive. Takes an opportunity. Takes a risk. Contact between the two. Runner Red up to P2. Here we go. Into Cop's corner. Can the Aston Martin now set his sights, set his focus on that Mercedes in P1? There's a slow moving Sauber on the Wellington straight, but there's not much that's going to change as this top 6 continue to fight it away. And these guys are fighting aggressively. We go down towards Stowe Corner. Up the inside goes Anton for P4, and at the moment Anton, it's not for P4 but P3. Anton remains in P4 at the moment, but the McLaren trying everything to get by. Leo beginning to struggle on those mediums, which while newer than what his teammate and the Alpine are on, are certainly still older than what the soft runners, who are still going to have that little bit of tyre advantage. They're trying to use up what they have left, but it is slowly beginning to fall back in line with that medium compound. And we'll see whether that has an effect. Who has babied their tyres enough at this stage in the race? Because at the moment, it has been an all-out brawl. To the inside goes Runner Red. He doesn't have to make it as aggressive as what he did with Leo. Meanwhile, Leo losing out P3 to Anton in the process. It's Runner Red up to P1. Anton up to P3. Iron down to P2. And Leo down to P4. We're going to see whether Runner Red can make his way away from the Mercedes, but it's going to become very, very difficult as we now go towards Maggots and Beckett's. Ironut will be looking to try and get that race either way, but is there opportunity for the Mercedes Aston Martin to pull away? He certainly looks more confident than he did in the soft stint and the medium stint through Maggots and Beckett, because all of a sudden, rather than losing time to the Mercedes, he's pulling away from him through there. So that Ironut maybe has pushed his tyres a little bit too far, because he's now got a McLaren, a papaya car, who is trying to make his way by as we now go through towards the end of lap 22 to start lap 23. We've got 4 laps to go as we now go through sector 1. Ironut right on the back of the Aston Martin. This is all like have championship implications, not just drivers, constructors as well. Constructors is ridiculously close, and tonight will certainly not change that as things stand. We go through Brooklands, Luffield, and the Mercedes right on the back, but Anton is right on the back of the Mercedes as the 3 of them are trying and starting to make himself a bit of a gap to that 4th to 6th group. And that while they're all still within DRS, the bigger the gap in that DRS, the easier it is for Anton to set his sights on the 2 in front. But it's not over yet. When is it ever over in EXA? Because anything can happen. One last twist could always happen. Ironut tried to get closer and closer to the Aston Martin. He sticks behind him this time round, but that Mercedes is certainly not letting go of this race win. Again, 5 teams, 6 drivers battling it out for this victory. It has been like this all race. These top 6 have pulled away, with the 2 in P7 and P8 of Paul Diver and Sonic having their own little battle, and a group of Icky Robo down to Dan in P12 battling out for the final 2 points paying positions. Vigo and Blazer fighting it side by side. Vigo up the P10, taking away the last points paying position away from Blazer. Is that going to be all said and done? We've got 3 laps to go, and this is an important 3 laps, because who has saved the ERS, who has got the track position, who's got the tyres left, everything is running through the minds of these drivers right now. They'll be noticing each other's movement, seeing it become more unsettled if they are behind, if they are in front. They'll see that gap flicker here and there, and they'll see where they are faster. They'll be trying to maximise at every single location possible, but we'll see whether that is the case by lap 26's end. We go through Magnus and Beckett's for the 24th time as he go through Beckett's and on to the hangar straight. Is this the opportunity for Ironut to retake the lead? He's going to be pushed into it a bit more, because Anton is going to be right up his gearbox, but there's not much the Mercedes could do against the Aston Martin, meanwhile the McLaren is going to have to defend from Leo. Leo trying to make a move on the Papaya car. They're trying to go around the outside now into Club, but it's not much he could do. That McLaren having enough grip. But into turn one, this is an opportunity for the top two to pull away as Anton's sights are focused on that Ferrari, who's been a nuisance for the last couple of laps, is continuing to be a nuisance. Potentially that tyre, a soft tyre, potentially looking to die off as that Ferrari is starting to come back towards them. Same with the Alpine of Strikey and the other Ferrari of Nello. We're going to go into Brooklands now. The 6 covered by 1.2 seconds. Looking up the inside is Anton trying to make a move up the inside of Ironer in Luffield, but nothing he could do there. As we now go towards Copse Corner, the Ferrari is all over the back of Anton. We're going to go through Magnussen Beckett and we will see whether that Ferrari can make their way by, but is it too little too late for the Scuderia as they now look to have more pace than the drivers in front, but they are down in P4 and at the moment it is looking difficult to get by. Top 4 remain line astern, top 6 remain line astern I should say. Anton trying to make an attack. It turns into a defence. Leo up the inside, trying to make a move into the final chicane. It'll turn to the outside line, and again, defence completed for Anton, but he's there half a second back from the top 2 onto the final lap of the race. It is opportunity for these guys because we now go into the arena section for the final time through Village into arena. That's a bit of a lock up there from the Aston Martin runner red. Is that all she wrote? Leo up the inside of Anton trying to make a move. Anton has to run and Anton makes it into P3, but Ironer moves up the P1. Runner red will not have DRS due to where he was in the DRS detection zone. He was ahead of the Mercedes. Is that crucial? And is that the move for the race win? We will go onto the old pit straight now. Mistake from the Aston Martin, costly, significantly costly. Could have happened the lap before, it didn't. It happened on the final one. Pressure mounted. Pressure has caused the Aston to crack. We go into Magnussen Beckett's now for the final time. Is this the last opportunity for Red to make amends of what he just made, the mistake he just made? DRS for the Aston, the Mercedes trying to defend, but is that what he needed? As the Aston gets by into Stowe Corner, he makes the move for the lead. Is that it? Will the Mercedes make any sort of dive? They make the dive. They try and make the move stick. The McLaren up the inside as well. They're trying to make the move and run it. Ironut gets the move on the last chicane. Contact between the last guys. Ironut wins the British Grand Prix for Division 2. Runner red 17 thousandths ahead of runner red Anton in P3 with Leo only in P4, Nello P5, Strikey P6. 7 tenths cover the top 6 by race's end. Ironut daring last move, daring dive, daring himself, taking in all for nothing measure. He got it all. He maximised. He took the race win. The pole man, has certainly helped themselves in the standings. Congratulations to Ironut for that win. And a very, very good race from that top 6. As we see at the end of this race, Ironut will take victory ahead of Runner Red, ahead of Anton. That's our top 3. Leo, ahead of Nello, ahead of Strikey. That's our top 6. I don't even know where anyone else came. That was an exciting end to the race. Like you see there, just under 8 tenths. Okay, 10th difference. That is ridiculously close between the top 6. Ironut Lee wins. Runner Red 2nd, Anton 3rd, Leo 4th, Nello 5th, Strikey 6th, Sonic 7th, Paul Diver with the fastest lap of the race in P8, Vigo P9, Blazer ran out the top 10 with Dan, Icky Robo, Elmo, Harsteel, and then Marty being the finishers, classified finishers. Dylan, John, Swanton, Deadhead are all 4 retired from the race. But excellent race from the top 6. None of them gave up, and that was the move at the end that took it for Ironut. That was close, and congratulations to the Mercedes. Thank you all for watching. That was an excellent race. We will be back next week for what I believe is the Qatar Grand Prix, and I believe it is a sprint race. So I'll just check this before we do so. It is Qatar. It is a sprint race in round 9 next week. So we'll hope to see you then. We will also have Bahrain, China, and Spa, but to round out the season. So thank you all for watching today, and we will see you all next week for Qatar. Goodbye.